Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1539B, and today's date is April 8th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Deep State on the Move, Countermoves in Place, Prevent at All Costs. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded a new interview on Saturday. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. So all you need to do is go over to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight. It will bring you to the interview. The interview is called The Hammer is About to Fall. Central Banks Are Obsolete. And this is with V, Crypto Z, Crypto Cowboy, and Frank. And you can also see the interview on the X22Report.com or NewSentinel.com site. Just scroll down, look over to your right-hand side. You'll see the interview there, and you can play it right on the site. Or go to Steemit, that's steemit.com/@X22Report, and you can play it right on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, in the past couple of weeks, we've been seeing that Q has been dropping a lot of intel about FISA, about pedophilia, about the investigation into Clinton, about the sealed indictments. The indictments are going to be broken. April's going to be a very big month. April showers. And we're starting to see that Trump now is pushing the Department of Justice and the FBI. And he tweeted out there, "What does the Department of Justice and FBI have to hide? Why aren't they giving the strongly requested documents unredacted to the House Judiciary Committee? Stalling, but for what reason? Not looking good." And Virginia Rep. Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of House Judiciary, subpoenaed the documents on March 22nd. He set the deadline for April 5th. Well, if we look at the date, we know that it is now past April 5th. FBI Director Christopher Wray issued a statement on March 27th acknowledging the document production to Congress, and it's been too slow. He said that he would double the number of FBI staff working to provide documents to the House Judiciary from 27 to 54 people. Now, basically, they're probably looking at these documents saying, how are we going to hand these over unredacted? Because they're going to find out everything. This is why Trump is pushing, saying, what do they have to hide? Because they are hiding very important information. We see the Department of Justice grants House and Senate Intel Committee full access to review the FISA application. Now, until today, the only people allowed to review the full Title I FISA application were Trey Gowdy, Adam Schiff, and Judiciary Chairman Bob Goodlatte and Representative John Ratcliffe. And what we're seeing right now is that there's been an interesting development. The Department of Justice has responded to HBSCI Chairman Devin Nunes, notifying him the Department of Justice will allow all members of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees full access to review the unredacted FBI Department of Justice FISA applications used to gain a Title I surveillance warrant against U.S. citizen Carter Page. And we know that Q has already mentioned that Carter Page was a plant. So we are seeing that everything is starting to accelerate, and it looks like April is going to be turning out to be a very big month. Now, to take this a step further, what we see happening right now is Trump has signed a memorandum ordering agencies to expeditiously end the practice known as catch and release. That allows immigrants caught in the U.S. without proper documents to be released from detention while their cases play out in court. The memo signed by Trump orders the Department of Homeland Security, in coordination with other agencies, to submit a report to the president within 45 days detailing all measures that their respective departments have pursued or are pursuing to expeditiously end catch and release practices. As part of the order, Trump is requesting a detailed list of existing facilities, including military facilities, that could be used, modified, or repurposed to detain aliens for violations of immigration law at or near the borders of the United States. Trump has also directed the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, and Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen to identify any other resources or steps that may be needed to expeditiously end catch and release practices. Now, Trump is also cracking down on pedophiles. We see already Congressman Farenthold has resigned, and it looks like he was busted in a DC pedophile ring where Basically, he was forced to resign amid allegations of running an underage prostitution website. And according to the court records, it looks like he used public taxpayer dollars to silence one of his victims, paying them about $84,000 to remain silent. And we can see that the congressman also registered and owns the internet domain name blowme.org. And if you look it up, actually he does. Unless someone spoofed this, it looks like he actually does. To take this a step further, it appears that there might be a huge beginning of a federal crackdown on these type of practices. Backpage.com. Now, this is an internet sexual marketplace frequented by sexual predators, sex workers, and basically it was completely shut down. And it looks like this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you remember, late last year, Trump signed an executive order empowering the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State to confiscate the U.S. assets of anyone materially assisting, sponsoring, or providing financial, material, or technical support to those engaged in human rights abuses and or corruption. And we need to remember that there are 24,544 sealed indictments, and Q has already specified that these indictments, the seals will be broken. And we see right now that if this does happen this month, we're going to see a lot of information pour out onto the corporate media. And we're going to have to see how they handle this, because we know the corporate media is just not going to go along with it and report it. We know they're just going to ignore it. This is what they do best. We see the Skripal case that is heating up. Now, we know both of them are recovering Yulia, which is his daughter. They were poisoned, most likely by the CIA, by MI6, the deep state. And we can see right now, since they are waking up right now, they need to silence them. Now, if they kill them while they're in custody, well, that would be completely obvious. And it looks like right now, the U.S. and British intelligence agencies may offer Sergei and Yulia new identities and relocation to a Five Eyes country, according to reports, which means they're going to take them, move them someplace else, say they have new identities, and we will never ever hear from them again. This way they can't testify to say it was not Russia, it was these individuals. Now, we can see that they need to do something right now to cover up what has happened, because as we can see, there is no evidence, there is no proof, it doesn't point to Russia, and the UK and the rest of the world, the Five Eyes countries, they know they can't let this go out into the mainstream media, out into the public domain, because it will show that the UK made it up. The U.S. just followed this. We believe them, and I think this is why Trump went along with it, because he wanted the UK to be proven that they made all of this up, and he can say, hey, we are not following these countries anymore. We're going to back off. And we can see already the intelligence agencies, they're getting very worried about this, and they're saying, okay, listen, we can make up this story that we're going to give them new identities. We can, take them, move them away. Nobody will ever hear from them again, and most likely they'll end up in a ditch someplace, never to be seen again until the bodies are dug up. Now, we see out in North Korea, we see that since the drills have started in North Korea, we haven't heard anything from Kim Jong-un. Nothing at all. No firing of missiles, no corporate media, headlines. We're not seeing a nuclear detonation. We're seeing absolutely nothing. This shows you that the peace deals behind the scenes that have already happened are holding, and the deep state can't do anything about this. And already they're coming out saying that, the United States and North Korea, they've been holding secret talks behind the scenes to prepare for the summit. This has already been done. This is only going to be done for show at this point. And the corporate media is just catching up to it. But the peace deal has already been done behind the scenes in the Forbidden City in China. We see the U.S. has deployed 3 carrier battle groups to the South China Sea. And everyone's thinking, oh, we're going to war with China. No, the reason for this is, remember, the deep state is spread across the globe. It's not just here in the United States. They have operational bases all over the place. The reason why the military is being put out there is to go after the deep state, to go after those individuals that are running. There's a silent war happening behind the scenes. Now, the Pentagon is sending an unprecedented three aircraft carrier battle groups to the region with the USS Theodore Roosevelt, and we're seeing that the USS Carl Vinson and its fleet have just paid their first visit to Vietnamese coastal city Da Nang since the end of Vietnam War. These ships are going to be out there to basically go after the deep state. It's showing the use of force, and Q put out, and he pointed us to this video showing the force of the U.S. There's a reason for that, showing everyone that, listen, he has control of the majority of the military. He has control of a lot of the Navy, the Marines, and you name it, and he controls a lot of military assets. Showing the deep state, this is what he has. Now, is he showing them everything? Absolutely not. But we can see right now, behind the scenes, with all these planes going down, with the ships being hit, there's a silent war happening behind the scenes. Now, we know that Trump was out there and he was saying that we're going to be taking the troops out of Syria very, very soon, because it was a complete waste of money. We spent trillions and trillions of dollars in the Middle East, and it's time to get out. Now, of course, the corporate media went completely crazy, and he backtracked on what he said. Now, the question is, did he really backtrack, or did he put it out there to get a response? That's exactly what he did. He wanted a response, and he let the deep state know, we are pulling the U.S. troops. Now, the deep state needs the U.S. troops in there because they use them, and if Trump goes ahead and pulls them out, they're in trouble. And basically, he's flushing them out in the deep state. And we can see already they made their move. Since they heard that the troops will be moving out, they knew that they were going to have to do something. So they pushed forward this false flag. There was a chemical attack in Syria. And of course, this was staged. We know from all the intel from Russia and everyone else that they were planning on this for a very long time. Russia stopped them about 2 or 3 times. It looks like this one, they were able to push this one out and to say, yes, there was a chemical attack and people died there. Now, we know most of the time that this is all staged. And they did this in the eastern area of Ghouta. Iran is already saying that this Syrian chemical charge is a complete conspiracy by the United States, which is really the deep state. And we know that this has been done on purpose because Trump pushed the idea that troops will be leaving the Syria area. There's no reason for the United States to be in there anymore. He pushed the deep state's hand. And now they're saying that Russia, Syria, and Iran, they are responsible for this. Now, of course, Trump came out and he's playing along with this. This is what he does best. And the corporate media is out there saying yes. Now, what they're saying is, if it's proven, now remember, this is the key word, if it's proven that Assad has done this, the United States must act, because this is what Trump has said in the past. He's forcing them to prove this. He's not going to be invading this area. He wants the deep state and those individuals, and this way it flushes them out because you can see who they are. He wants them to go ahead and show the evidence to the world that Assad has used chemical weapons. Now, you know there's going to be no evidence whatsoever. Yes, they might fabricate it, but again, it will be knocked down just like Russia knocked down the Skripal poisoning. But they're going to do whatever they possibly can, and I'm going to let you know in a couple minutes what Q has said about all of this. Now, what's very interesting, they're bringing Iran into the fold here. Iran is saying that they were hacked. Now, of course, this is coming out of the corporate media here in the United States, saying hackers have attacked networks in a number of countries, including data centers in Iran, where they left the image of a U.S. flag on screens along with warning, do not mess with our elections. Now, the question is, why would the United States go ahead and cyber attack Iran, put the American flag up there, and say, don't mess with our elections? Does that make any sense? But I think what is happening here is the deep state is putting it out there that Iran messed with the elections. The intelligence agencies went in and they hit part of Iran to say, hey, if you try this again, you know what we're going to do. And they're trying to build up that Iran is going to do something to retaliate against this cyber attack. I mean, this is a complete game that is going on. Now, with everything going on, there was this, fire that erupted in Trump Towers on the 50th floor. And this, lately, since Trump has become president, we've seen many different fires happening in a lot of Trump's buildings. And I think what the deep state is doing is they're sending a message to Trump: back off, or we're going to burn down your assets. And it looks like they are pushing their agenda right now. Now, there is a photo that has surfaced, and this is very interesting. Trump is basically walking through a plane that has these chemical tanks. And some people say, well, this is a picture of a plane where they're testing weight distribution. It's a test plane. Other people are saying that this is a chemtrail plane. Now, the question to me is, he's touring this plane. So why in the world would he be going on a tour to see a weight distribution test plane? This makes no sense to me. This must be something else. Could this be a chemtrail plane? And he wanted to see it to see what the deep state has been up to. Very interesting. Now, the other intel drops is that there's going to be an NBC nightly news interview with Lester Holt. And Lester Holt is going to be interviewing Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Now, Lynch is going to discuss with former FBI Director James Comey her airplane meeting with President Bill Clinton during the 2016 campaign and more. So it sounds like someone wants to get ahead of a potential bombshell story, and they're trying to put this out first before the bombshell hits, to try to soften the blow, to explain their reason of why this is happening. So we see a lot of things are happening all at once, and things are really starting to pick up pace here in April. Now, what's very interesting, and we're going to go back to Syria right now, and Q dropped these intel drops here. Night 4, increase in chatter. Authorization B19-2, Sparrow Red, prevent at all costs, good, Castle Online. They are trying to start a war. Deflection. Public interest shift. Pull-out announcement. That's the pullout of the troops in Syria. Chemical attack. Coincidence? These people are sick. Now let's think about this. He did make the announcement that the troops are going to be pulled out. He pushed the deep state into making their move. This was done on purpose. This was not a coincidence. This was done on purpose. They are trying to start a war. And the other intel drops from Q is POTUS never telegraphs his moves. We've talked about this before. Remember, he's a businessman. He works with business individuals, making deals, understanding what move this individual is going to make this deal. Then he counters that move and makes his deal. That's why basically he has the book about being a businessman making deals, and he knows how to pretty much think 2 steps ahead of everyone. This is what he has done all his life. And we can think right now, the Q drop is POTUS never telegraphs his moves. No, he doesn't. The corporate media had Trump saying that we were going to war with North Korea. He made everyone believe this. Even some of the alternative media channels believe this. In the background, he was talking about peace. The same thing is happening in Syria right now. He's out there saying that Russia, Assad, they're all responsible for all this. Iran, they're all responsible. He's playing it up to the corporate media. He wants everyone thinking in a certain way. He wants them in a certain direction while they work in the background. And before everything's said and done, people don't even know what happened. I mean, wouldn't you think that the corporate media will be making a huge deal that we have peace with North Korea, that we had a drill and they didn't test a nuclear weapon, they didn't fire a missile? Wouldn't you think this would be great news? But we don't really hear much about it. So Q is asking us to think logically. Why did POTUS announce his intention to pull out of Syria? Moves and counter moves. So we can see right now that he is working with Xi Jinping. He is working with Putin. And all of this is orchestrated to make everyone believe that we might be going to war, that things are very shaky, while everything is happening behind the scenes. Now, again, the deep state, the central bankers, they are going to push their agenda very, very hard. They want to start a war. We've known this for a very long time. And once they are really back in a corner and they have no other options, they're going to spring forward with this event. And it's going to be the event of all events. You can see, as soon as he made the announcement about Syria, all of a sudden, they pulled off the chemical attack. And now they're trying to pin it on Assad. And of course, they have no proof, no evidence, they have nothing because it was a false flag. Just like the Skripal poisoning, just like everything else they've done, they can never really show real evidence. And all Trump needs to do at this point, and those patriots, is to continually push these individuals to show evidence. And actually, it's not going to come from Trump because that would be ridiculous. It would be coming from Russia. It'd be coming from Iran. It'd be coming from Syria. It'd be coming from the UN to continually push them. Let's see the evidence. Let's see the evidence. Because remember, in the past, no one ever asked for the evidence. Everyone just went along with it, just like the Skripal poisoning. Every single country, since the U.S. said, hey, yeah, we're going to expel the Russian diplomats, we'll go along with this. And now they're going to be asking for evidence. Russia has been asking for evidence. And I think this was all done on purpose to show that, hey, we can't believe these other countries anymore. Maybe we should look at the evidence. So we can see the game is being played, and basically both sides are trying to get the upper hand. And it looks like the deep state is losing at every turn. But don't count them out because we know they play dirty. We know that they don't care about the people. Q has already said this. And we know from the past, from history, that they will kill people. They will destroy populations to get their way. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.